in 1998. Leading 1-0 with 2 tests to play, the South Africans were aware of the threat posed by England's famously stoic opening batsman.
I remember plotting against Mic Atherton back in the 90s, and the conversation was going round and around in the South African strategy meeting, how are we going to bowl to Atherton?
We all discussed this technical ability and this, where we should be bowling, where his feet should be, and where we want him to be, how we're going to suffocate him in the crease.
Bob Woolman had a theory, and Hansie had a theory, and Craig Matthews had a theory, and Brian McMillan did. And eventually it was going round and round, and someone said, hang on guys, why don't we ask Allan, because he's actually the guy who needs to bowl to him.
And Bob said to me, AD, what do you think?
Everyone looked at him, and he had a sip of his beer in the team meeting those days, and he said,
well, why don't you just hit him on the head and call him a, I think, Paddy would have told you, but, and everyone burst out laughing. What was all this analysing about? And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was a Sunday evening, big audience on telly, full house, just a couple of games to go, so it was absolutely set up. And there you had it, a kind of duel that you often get in a test match, batsman, bowler.
It was a quite feisty series, to be honest, as well. There was a lot of umpiring controversy. They felt they'd had a lot of bad decisions. We felt we'd had some bad decisions, and there was a bit of tension building between the sides.
The game was meandering a little bit, was in the balance a bit, and I waved to Hansie. I said, listen, I think I must go have a go from this end, but you've got to trust me on this one. I've got to just give me the feel that I want. I'm going to go aggressive here.
And Donald got more out of that flat pitch than any bowler.
I just felt good, and it's one of those moments where you just feel, wow, this is coming out nicely, and it paces up, the rhythm's good, and there's shape on the ball.
He suddenly got it through, he bent his back as much as he could, he steamed in, and it started with the Atherton incident.
Oh, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. When you talk about duels that you see happening, that was a duel of note, where Atherton got away with that nick behind.
And he punched it hard, and it was a great catch by Mark Boucher. Yeah, it took pace off it, and he had to dive to his right. A magnificent catch.
As it happened, I had an enormous slice of luck when I wasn't given out, caught behind off my glove.
So Atherton just leant on his bat, said bad luck.
Of course, Athers was never going to walk for that, and you're never going to blame people for not walking.
Donald was sort of swearing at Atherton's in Afrikaans to start with.
It was just a horrible decision that gone wrong.
Then he mouthed something to him in English, and Athers was the sort just to smirk back like he did, that annoying sort of Cambridge smirk that Atherton has, that really wound Donald up even more.
For about 45 minutes, he bowled ferociously quick, fantastic to watch.
I know that Nasser Hussain was standing on the non-strikers end for quite some time, and there was a lot of verbals going around.
I was just happy standing on my bat saying, I'll take Pollock, you bowling at 80 mile an hour, you take Donald bowling at 95 mile an hour. And then unfortunately I got up Donald's end and I gloved one to Boucher.
Things were really intense, and Boucher, he took everything during that series, and then he dropped that catch.
Donald went absolutely ballistic. I mean, I thought his head was going to explode.
I still remember just yelling out as loud as I possibly could.
To be fair to Donald, at the end of the over, he went down, he went back to Boucher and apologised, but it was high-tension stuff out there.
It was unbelievable theatre. Here you had the fiercest fast bowler in the world bowling to, at the time, one of the mentally the most toughest batsmen in the world.
There was 2 men at the peak of their game, 2 stubborn men, 2 proud men. Atherton was going nowhere. Donald knew that a great injustice had been done, and it fired him up even more.
It was great theatre. It was exactly the small kind of period of play that you play for.
That 45 minutes was the best 45 minutes I've had on a cricket field with anybody, one-on-one. It was just awesome.
Test cricket at its best.
It was just one of those great sporting moments that, when you mention it, I mean, I can see everything, I can feel the experience that I had back then just unfolding. It was one of those beautiful, and that's why we love sport, it's for those moments.
Atherton ultimately led England to victory, but the unforgettable duel ensured a mutual respect between batsman and bowler.
Well, he's a great fast bowler, and it's always a challenge facing him with a new ball. Obviously, it was a key part of our second innings. You know, there's a lot been written in the papers about the duel yesterday, but one thing's for sure, you know, at the end of the game, we'll both have a drink. You know, we're good mates.
He actually came and brought 6 beers up to our change room, or down, shall I say. And he just said, and he brought his right glove, which had a massive red mark on it. And it was my benefit year the next year, and he said, "Al, I think we need to have a beer." Me and him have had a great friendship over the years since then, and that's the way I think the sport should be played.
The following year, South